What's going on, everybody? It's Wade with the Kingdom Report, back here with you to connect you to more of what makes you happy, and a very Merry Christmas to you. In the glow of the holiday season, there really is no greater time to visit Disney parks. In fact, more people visit Disney parks this time of year than at any other point in the calendar year. Something to keep in mind is that this brings the biggest crowds during Christmas week into New Year's week. The busiest time of year for Disney parks is that week and a half, 2-week time span. So keep that in mind, because today we are going to be discussing with you sort of a survival list, right? A list of things to go through to really maximize your experience, because when the crowds are that crazy, a lot of times there's even restrictions on whether or not you can even get into a theme park at the Disneyland Resort because it becomes so overwhelmed. So to keep that in mind, we have a list of helpful tips for you here to try and sort of navigate these crowds and deal with all the chaos. Right up front, I want to share with you one that might be obvious, but a lot of people don't seem to think about, and that is buy your tickets ahead of time. Do not just go wait in line at the ticket booths prior to getting into the parks, because during the Christmas, New Year's weeks, these lines stretch out like longer than I've ever seen. Longer than any other time of year. You will see crazy lines at the ticket booths, everybody just trying to buy a ticket. You're going to save yourself about 40 minutes right off the bat at the start of your day by buying tickets ahead of time and making sure that you are well prepared. Just do it online. I know some grocery stores sell tickets to Disneyland. Go ahead, buy those tickets, save yourself a ton of time, and just get into the parks. Because if you miss out on getting into the parks early, you might miss out on getting into the parks at all, or you're going to have to wait several hours throughout the day before they reopen those gates just to let you in. It does happen, not often, but it does, and it's something that only typically happens during this 2-week time span. Now, dealing with these crowds is something that can be difficult, especially if you have anxiety or you're easily triggered by confined spaces. You're going to be surrounded by people wall to wall during the Christmas, New Year's week, so keep it in mind that you're going to have to experience that inside of these theme parks. Something that might be helpful for you, though, in this survival list is a place or two to get away from the crowds. And that's really what you're going to be finding in today's breakdown, is how you can escape these crowds and enjoy yourself, even though the wait times for most major attractions are going to be astronomical during these holiday week periods. You're still going to be able to find some places where it's easy to escape. It's easy to find a little bit of you time in a place that might just be the most crowded location on the face of the earth. So, to start things off, great moments with Mr. Lincoln. Yeah, the Opera House here in Town Square, a location a lot of people just walk right by because it's one of the first things you see on the way in. Most folks are running back to Indiana Jones or trying to get to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and running past this attraction entirely. It's a big sprawling space, wide open corridors that allow for you to really soak in the history and nostalgia of Disneyland. A lot of great exhibits in here about Disneyland's history. And then on top of that, an exhibit that typically is sort of a visiting exhibit, a visiting experience. And this time in the holiday season of 2019 is all about the Haunted Mansion's big anniversary. But this is a classic attraction that Walt Disney himself worked on. Great moments with Mr. Lincoln, a long show with kind of a film to start things off, and then, of course, the audio animatronic version of the 16th President of the United States to share some of his greatest moments with you. And the theater is huge, large, and allows for a lot of capacity, which means you don't have to wait long, and typically you can take a huge rest in here, too. So keep that in mind as you go about your park day. Another great attraction is the Disneyland Railroad. Yep, this is a place where you can get away from the crowds, even though you're going to be sitting next to people side by side. The Disneyland Railroad tends to be one of those overlooked gems, again, because it's there right as you enter, and so a lot of people rush right past it. But this is an experience where you can get away from the crowds, get a total full circle experience of all of the Disneyland Park offerings, and it's also one of those attractions that if you want to stay on, just stay on. You don't have to get off. I think there are so few attractions that allow for that if you really do want to take a break, if you really do want to relax, that would be a really fantastic place to do so, because you hop on board, it's a slow-moving ride all the way around the park. You get to see a lot of cool things. You get to go through most of the lands, and you don't have to worry about anything. It's a nice way to relax and unwind, especially as the crowds sort of intensify throughout the day. Usually around noon they get at their worst, but think about New Year's Eve. That's also going to be a great attraction to jump on. A little further up Main Street, there's another hidden gem where you can get away from crowds or at least enjoy yourself in some isolation. That is the Main Street Cinema. Yeah, now out in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom, this has been turned into a retail space, and it's not really an attraction like it is here. And most folks that tend to come on down Main Street, well, they walk right past this. I don't think many people assume that they can go in because it is dark, it is sort of off the beaten path, and unless you're looking for it, you probably don't know that it's here. Now, this is a space that is dedicated to those original Walt Disney animated classics, the cartoons that sort of made Mickey Mouse famous. It's a great place to come in, hang out for a bit, again, relax and unwind. It's dark, and so it kind of lets you just get away from the harsh sun or the elements if it's cold and raining. It's a great place to hang out at. They did try to turn this into a retail space very, very briefly here earlier this year. That didn't work. The annual pass holders at Disneyland revolted and said, "Not in our Main Street Cinema," and they immediately retreated, and now it's back to being just a classic little experience that you can enjoy yourself. As we head further down Main Street, we're going to be turning right just past the photo supply store. Right before you arrive at the Plaza Inn restaurant, there is a corridor, another tip that we wanted to share with you, that has some great amenities that if you didn't know it was there, this is going to be really helpful, especially to your mothers out there. Now, Disneyland has a baby care center just tucked away next to the Red Wagon. Now, the Red Wagon sells those great corn dogs, if that gives you a reference point, but this is a location that allows for mothers to go breastfeed. This location allows for some privacy, some amenities like diapers and some baby bottles, and it just has a lot of different offerings that you don't assume a theme park is going to have for you. This is dedicated to the mothers or the fathers that take care of their children that really just need to get away and have a moment of privacy with their kids. It's a great location to definitely dive into and be able to take advantage of. Now, over in Tomorrowland, this becomes a crazy congested area during the holiday weeks, and this is a great reminder as the Disneyland Band marches by. Entertainment is at a maximum during the holiday weeks. They want to try and absorb the crowds as best as possible with entertainment in every corner. So keep in mind, entertainment is maxed out, so you're going to see it all over the place. Definitely get there early to see whatever show might be going on. But here in Tomorrowland, we venture into a space that really needs to be reimagined. I mean, that's a topic for another video, but really needs to be reimagined. However, what we're here to discuss is survival tips, right, for the holiday season. Well, here's a survival tip. A place to get away from crowds, yet again, is this theater. Now, it's been called different things over time. It's the Magic Eye Theater, located here just next to Space Mountain's main entrance. Right now, it's showing High School Musical, the series. This area is a major theater within Tomorrowland that typically shows some sort of preview, some sort of film that may be correlated to other Disney properties. Obviously, with High School Musical, the series from Disney Plus. Don't know how it connects to the Tomorrowland theme, but at least it's being shown, I suppose. But this is a great place to get away from the crowds and escape once again. A location that allows for a lot of capacity all at once, so the wait time isn't usually all that bad. You can get away if you need to. Also a note here at Red Rockets Pizza Port, or Alien Pizza Planet, as it is being called now. This area is something that I want to touch on because it touches on a greater subject, and that is if you're going to stop to dine, do so in off-peak hours during these holiday weeks, because if you decide to go to eat lunch at 11:30, 12 noon like everybody else, well, you're going to run into no tables, you're going to run into absolute chaos, you're going to run into everybody trying to do the same thing. So keep that in mind, off-peak hours. So if you can delay your lunch until 1 or 2 in the afternoon, or have an early dinner perhaps, that might be in your best interest. Another location in Tomorrowland where you can escape the crowds and enjoy some off-the-beaten-path entertainment. Star Wars Launch Bay. Since Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened, this huge building, which used to have some really classic attractions and experiences in it, has been, well, left by the wayside. It is not nearly as popular as it used to be because you have a whole land dedicated to this subject now. Why is anybody going to go into this building in the corner of Tomorrowland that really just talks about the land when you can go experience it yourself? Well, this has left the location kind of just vacant. All the exhibits, everything is still there. It's just a big empty space. So it's a great place to go hang out at. Again, if you want to get away from those crowds, if you're looking for a place to just go take some selfies, this is a great spot. I know that the Cantina replication set is still in action here, a place where you can jump in, grab those photos, and because there's less people in here more than ever now, it's a great place to stop by with friends and family and get some really creative shots. There's also a place where you can meet Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, Chewbacca, really cool location for a character meet and greet. And again, the lines tend to be non-existent now because everybody is over in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So this Star Wars Launch Bay, great place to come hang out at if you are trying to get away from the crowds and just manage your expectations again. Not a whole lot there, just a place to go hang out at during those super busy days. Another location, yet again you're seeing a theme here with the shows, Fantasyland Theater back in Fantasyland right next to the main entrance of Toontown, Mickey's Toontown. This is a location where you can come hang out and see Mickey in action. It's a 2,300 seat theater that has a gigantic stage, and it's all dedicated to Mickey and the Magical Map Show. And there's a snack bar up here. A lot of people don't think about this. The Troubadour Tavern. It's got limited hours, but throughout most of the day, as long as the shows are running, Troubadour Tavern is open. Great off the beaten path food option, especially during the holiday weeks where all the food options are completely inundated with crowds and interest. Troubadour Tavern is a great place to go grab yourself some grub. And then once you dive into the theater itself, I mean, look at this. Lots and lots of space. Shows happen 3-4 times a day. And during those holiday weeks, this is something that allows you to get that Disney magic fix without really having to stand in line for 45 minutes to do so. As we venture through the park, I want to share with you that obviously Fantasyland is Strollerland every day of the year anyhow, but during the holiday weeks becomes even more congested. Probably want to avoid it if at all possible. Back in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, another tip for you. Great location to get away from the crowds. Now you might not be thinking, oh wait, it's the newest land. Why would you get away from crowds there? Won't it be busy? Yes, it will be, but if you head more towards the Rise of the Resistance attraction, hasn't opened yet, right? January 17, 2020 is when it opens here at Disneyland. Therefore, during the holiday season of 2019, this is a great place to go to get away from people. Right, the whole area is kind of deserted, and there's really no reason for folks to be back here other than walking to and from Critter Country. So this whole area back here, completely deserted, very serene, very peaceful. Great place to get away from the chaos of the day if you need to, and really builds anticipation if you're walking into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for what you're about to see. So I highly recommend this pathway if you can take it. Now, back in Narland Square, I will say the Haunted Mansion Holiday is even more popular during these peak weeks. If you want to do this attraction, make it one of your first of the day. Get over there, hammer it out, do it right away, because it will always have extended queue lines. And one of the other things that I like to point out is that, as I mentioned earlier, entertainment is at a sort of maximum, right? They max out their entertainment offerings during the holiday weeks. Well, there's always great things to see throughout Narland Square, but keep in mind that these corridors are small, and so the congestion through here will be very tight as well, but it's always nice to be able to stop off and enjoy some scenic entertainment when you get the opportunity to. Another tell-all, something that I like to share, is if Pirates of the Caribbean has a extended queue, right? If they have the ropes up in front of the attraction, that's how you know it's going to be a crazy busy day. So something to always think about is if you see those extra ropes out front, it's going to be packed that day. The expectation is that as the most efficient attraction they have in all of Disneyland, being Pirates of the Caribbean, it will be total pandemonium if they have those extended ropes out front, because they need it for all of the extra people that are coming into the ride. Another great spot to go hang out in, right here. Tarzan's Treehouse. Great attraction to go ahead and walk through because you don't really have to worry about anything in terms of waiting in line. This is an attraction a lot of people walk right past or don't even bother to look up at. Great little exploration tour of Tarzan's life and experience through here. I highly encourage you to check it out if you never have, but definitely one of those things that you can go do without much of a wait. Terrific tip, and then some great spots to take some photos as well. Have you ever seen such a beautiful little waterfall? This is really a captivating scene, so highly encourage you to check that out as well. Something that most people walk right by, and is a tip that I definitely want to touch on, Pirate's Lair at Tom Sawyer's Island. People walk right by it because I don't think a lot of people think they can get out to it. And so if you're an untrained visitor, you don't know, right? You're not a Disneylander, you don't know about it. But you take a raft on over to Tom Sawyer's Island. It's a great place to escape, great place to go hang out in. Big sprawling island right in the middle of the water. And just another serene location to get away from it all in. Something else that typically doesn't run throughout the year unless it's a very busy time, this right here, Davy Crockett canoe boats. Highly suggest you check these out, if only for the experience. Now, yes, it is very physical. Keep that in mind. You all have to paddle. But this is an experience that they only run during your busiest times of the year to try and accommodate the extra capacity, added capacity of the park. Highly suggest checking that one out as well, if only for the special memory that comes along with it. And it's really cool being out in the water when nobody else gets to. Speaking of being out in the water, Mark Twain Riverboat is another tip on our list. If you're looking to just relax and just, again, manage those expectations, Mark Twain Riverboat is a great experience, not just because it's a terrific view of everything around the rivers of America, especially now that they've sort of redeveloped the back end due to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but this is a long attraction. It's an experience that allows you to be captivated for a long period of time. You don't have to worry about anything. So if you want to head on over to Frontierland, you can jump on the Mark Twain. Another location to check out on our list, the Golden Horseshoe Saloon, one of my favorite locations in all of Disneyland Park. This space does not get the credit it deserves, and maybe that's a good thing because people don't think about going there. But this is a location that has a lot of indoor seating both on the ground level and then up top. Yep, it's 2 stories. Great entertainment in here. They added a dueling piano show that plays a couple times a day, so if you want to go in and check that out, you should do so. It'll have it articulated on your entertainment guide as to when you can see the dueling piano show. But also has a snack bar in here, and grab your chicken strips and your sundaes to enjoy yourself. Just some relaxing time during these busy holiday weeks. And you can also mobile order in here as well. So definitely do the mobile order. Skip those lines if you can at all possible. At every restaurant, if they offer the mobile order option, do the mobile order option. You will thank yourself later. Again, it's all about maximizing those times. Now, if you're looking for the fireworks shows or the nighttime spectaculars or even the parade during these busy holiday weeks, get there early, right? You must get there early. Now, on New Year's Eve, people claim a spot in front of the castle the moment the park opens. I mean, it's that crazy. But keep in mind that you want to show up at least an hour and a half, 2 hours ahead of time for parades and nighttime spectaculars during this busy holiday peak period. We head over to California Adventure Park, where they are celebrating the Festival of the Holidays. And a couple of places, couple of tips that we want to share with you where you can get away from crowds in this park and sort of enjoy yourself, maximize your time. Well, take us down Buena Vista Street. We're going to hang a left and head on into Hollywoodland. Yeah, this whole section of the park really is in a state of flux at the moment. A lot of empty sound stages, empty buildings that they aren't quite doing much with. But one of the locations that they recently went ahead and made something is the Sunset Showcase Theater, and they brought Mickey's PhilharMagic over from the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. This is a great experience. If you've never seen the show, do yourself a favor, go see the show. It is an adapted version from Walt Disney World, but it's a giant theater with a lot of added capacity where you don't have to wait for very long. It is one of those shows that really does captivate, I think, even the most cynical of viewers because it is so special. It's got a great soundtrack, and of course, Mickey and Donald Duck are the stars. But this location is one that, because there's so much room, because there's so much space, you don't really have to worry about waiting, and you're always able to get in and out of the elements if you need to. So definitely in Hollywoodland, this is a place you want to check out, and go back in 2-3 times if you need to, because a lot of the attractions are going to have astronomical wait times during this holiday peak period. Right across the street from Mickey's PhilharMagic, Disney Animation Building is a place you definitely want to stop by, not only because it's extra magical with all of the great sort of animation that goes on around you, sort of encapsulates you in this building, but this is a location that has a lot to do, and I always like to share with people that come to the park for the first time that you want to go to the Animation Academy. You want to learn how to draw and animate your own Disney character, draw your own Disney character. You walk away with a really cool drawing for free, and you created it. But also here, character close-up for Anna and Elsa, a really cool location where you can meet the characters from Frozen and Frozen 2. Sorcerer's Workshop is a great tucked away behind-the-scenes location that there's not a whole lot to do back there, but again, maximize your time. Another great place you don't have to wait for. And then Turtle Talk with Crush, of course. Talk with that sea turtle under the ocean, where he gets to come and chat with you live. There's sometimes a wait for this experience, especially during the holiday weeks, but highly suggest you check that one out too, because it is totally worth it. And just down the sidewalk from the Animation Building, the Hyperion Theater, the multi-thousand-seat theater, hosts the Frozen Spectacular, the Frozen Musical Spectacular in this building. A couple times a day, 3, sometimes 4, given whether or not the entertainment is at a maximum. But this location is one that can accommodate thousands and thousands of people all at once, and is still something you should show up probably about 30 minutes early too, just to make sure that you get into the queue that you would like in terms of whether or not you want to sit in the balcony or the mezzanine. It's all up to you, but you got to get there at least 30 minutes ahead of time during these holiday weeks to make sure that you claim the spot that you want. Moving on over to the Grizzly Peak area of California Adventure, an attraction that you can go on that will probably not have much of a wait. The water rides, right? Yeah, Grizzly River Run is an attraction that likely, because it's always chilly and cold these holiday weeks, they're not going to have much of a wait. So you can definitely jump on there, maximize your ride experience if you don't mind getting wet, even though it is chilly out. But the area just behind this attraction is also something that I love to share, because nobody goes back here. Look at this, it's empty. Most of the time, you won't find people back here. The occasional lingering person might be wandering through, wondering what the space is, but this is a great place to get away from it all too. So this is just behind the Grizzly River Run attraction, the whole pathway that sort of arches around the backside. Totally worth it if you're looking to get away from things. Now over near the Paradise Park region, the Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure attraction is one that moves very quickly. It's a clamshell sort of style and haunted mansion in terms of ride vehicle. This is an experience that even if you see a major line in the queue out front, keep in mind it moves really fast and can gobble people up really quick. So highly suggest you check that one out too. Back in the corner of Paradise Park, Viva Navidad! And the Festival of Holidays is of course underway. A great place to meet characters in their seasonal garb. Mickey and Minnie are back here. Elena of Avalor is also back here. But this is a location that has a lot going on. But even more than that, it's a giant space of seating. Right, tables everywhere. This whole area is roughly the size of like half of a major land, and it's all dedicated to seating for the sake of the restaurants back here. If you are looking to find a place to call home base and just sort of plop down and say, this is where we're all meeting, or this is where we're all going to hang out at, this is a perfect spot for that. They do have 2 restaurants back here, the Paradise Garden Grill, which has a seasonal overlay theme for its menu during Viva Navidad, so it is far more popular. Or right next door to that is the Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta location. Now this is a location that I went in multiple times during the holiday season, and because I guess it didn't have a seasonal overlay theme, no special menu, there's nobody in here. So a great place to go grab a slice if you don't want to wait in the major crowds everywhere else. Speaking of major crowds in food locations, if you haven't made advanced dining reservations for table service dining like Carthay Circle, might I suggest doing so ASAP. That's if they have anything left, but try and maximize your time again by making sure those reservations are well taken care of in advance. I think my final tip for you will be this. Enjoy this time of year with your friends and family. Enjoy this experience with them. You never know how long you're going to have with them. And as long as you manage your expectations, knowing that the excessive wait times will be there, knowing it will be wall to wall in terms of crowds, you will yourself have a wonderful experience at the happiest place on earth. Hopefully these survival tips helped you a great deal. New content for you every Tuesday, Thursday, and of course our live show on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. For the Kingdom Report, I'm Wade Heath, wishing you a spectacular 2020. Hey, we'll see you next year.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.